Python 3.14 is out soon, and it has a new feature called T-strings. What can you do with T-strings? We've been working on an HTML library called TDOM, and in this video, I'm going to show how TDOM's component-driven development can be hooked up to a really cool workflow using Claude Code. The models don't know that much about Python 3.14 or T-strings. They certainly don't know anything about this new TDOM thing that we've barely even released. So I need to go into my Claude rules and give it some coaching. I'm going to tell it, this is Python 3.14, use UV. There's this new thing called T-strings. Here's what it means. There's a new thing called TDOM. And when I tell you to make a component, these are the things I want you to do. Go look here for a bunch of examples. So what I want to do is I want to show a workflow where I've got basically a template. And I find a part that I want to turn into a component. In JSX and React, this is a very common thing. You're always refactoring and making big components into small single responsibility components. So here I've got something in the top level menu for a button for the GitHub repository. I want to turn this into a component. I'm using PyCharm, and JetBrains IDEs last week brought in Claude agent integration into our AI chat, so that now, instead of the regular chat that we were using before, you have a choice of agents that you can work with. And I'm working with Claude agent. I'm going to put it in Brave mode so it goes ahead and executes terminal commands. But the most important part is this. When I made that selection, it just went away. When I made that selection, the context now knows that's the selection, and if I type a command like this, extract the selection to an HTML component. Using all the rules that I've defined for HTML component, call it header link, and add some tests the way I told you to do tests, and add some docs the way I told you to do docs. This kicks off in AI chat, and you can see how this does kind of the same thing that Claude Code CLI would do. Tells you stuff going up and down. But in this case, it's got links directly in the IDE, so you can look at these files in the IDE as it's going along. It's going off and doing all of its stuff. You see it already created a header link. We'll come back and take a look at the results in a second, but for now, let's talk about some of the development workflows that we're trying to do with TDOM. While that's going, I'm going to talk a little bit about component-driven development and a productive workflow. A couple of things that I'm going to show in this. First, testing library from the world of JavaScript, also known as React testing library. And the idea of testing library is it is looking at how your web page is used, not how it's structured. You don't test on ID or class. You test on accessibility landmarks. We don't have that in the world of Python. I do a lot of my stuff before in Beautiful Soup, which has a great CSS selector library and lets me write all my components forever without going to the browser. Like for hours, I don't go to the browser. I just keep developing. But Beautiful Soup is a big extra dependency, and it doesn't have this accessibility focus. It's back in that world of testing the structure. I really didn't find anybody that had a library like this. And I thought, we already have TDOM. And TDOM already has a tree. Could Claude Code, if I pointed Claude Code at a checkout of testing library and said, write me one of those with no dependencies on anything other than TDOM, what would it look like? Well, it did it. And it actually worked pretty well. I coached it through, 10, 12 more things before getting exactly what I wanted, and it's already been super productive. Okay, Claude has finished. I'll go ahead and say accept all. I'm going to walk through all the steps it took in just a second, but let's go look at the result. As you can see, I've got these changed files in the place where I asked for the extraction. what it did was in these places, not just that one selection, it took all three cases of it, put in a reference to a header link with those values that came from the local scope, and passed them as props to this new component that it created that has a signature with type hints, because I asked for type hints, that does what it's supposed to do with a doc string. And it's getting all those values from the call site. So that's pretty cool. It's what you expect from a React style component driven development perspective. It also wrote a test. It wrote a test using my way of doing testing, using this ARIA testing port thing that I just talked about. Let's see the test run. Please run, please run, please run. Test failed. Because element has no attribute get. So this is a case where I need to fix my coaching to get it to use the correct API on the thing returned by getRoll. So that's okay. We can coach it up to fix that, but it wrote most of the tests for me. And in fact, it told me that there was a problem here. I could also coach my agent to run Pyrite and look for type violations before finishing. So that's okay. That's also one that we can fix. And it also wrote documentation for this component. And let's see, it linked it in to the talk tree here. I see it's got a leftover from something before. Now over to what it did for all of its steps. It created a list of things to do. It knew the files that it needed to make. It read the table of contents. Let's make a new version of the file with of header with the thing integrated. And it told me all of the steps that it took. It should have done a little more work to fix the type hinting. Let's go ahead and give that a try. The header link test fails because the wrong element API is used. This also fails type checking. Please fix and use ARIA testing. I will let it go off and see what it does. Okay, we're back. Along the way, as it went through, it found a couple of other things about my type checking, fixed those things as well. So it went through the cycle of do something, check, fail, fix something, check, fail. Eventually, all the tests passed. Type checking passes with no errors. It detected I had a problem with my SVG, which needed to be escaped. And let's go take a look and run all of these tests now. And look at that, all my tests passed. I did all of this without going to a browser.